5th through 6th grade. Welcome back. We are going to pick up where we left off. Last week, I had you take a paragraph with a topic I gave you and a basic paragraph that I wrote with my in-person students. And we created, your homework was to take this paragraph and put it into the essay form. And hopefully you ended up with something like this. So today we're going to see how that transitioned over, and then we're going to focus in on the introduction. And we're going to talk about how to write a good introduction. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, a quick review. So if you noticed, we took the topic sentence, which is right here, and it became the last sentence of our introduction. I'll put I for introduction here. Okay? And we filled in, we added some sentences at the beginning, but we ended, this is really important because this is very different from a paragraph, we ended the introduction with our thesis, which before it was still the thesis, but it was also called the topic sentence because it was the first sentence of our paragraph. But here it is the last sentence and it's our thesis. And this is why we refer to this essay form pattern as the funnel method, because we reduce this general information down to a nugget of information, which is a statement in our thesis, a thesis statement. And then what we did is we took those same points that we made in our paragraph and we separated them out. So, see if I can match the colors. Let's see, we did blue, green, yellow, orange. So I'm going to follow that. Don't you like how colorful and messy all those notes are? Okay, so I think we start off with blue. So there's our blue point. I should go back here and make my thesis purple because that was what we did on the other one, just to keep it similar. So this was purple. All right, and then this one was blue. And that means that everything in this paragraph has to do with the blue topic. What was our next color? Green. And then our next point was green, and everything in the green talks about that topic. And then yellow, and then this reddish orange color. And so now the points that we made in the other paragraph became the topic sentences of each paragraph of its own. And then, and we won't talk a lot about this today, we'll get into this next week or the week after. Depends on our schedule. But then we end the essay with a paragraph called the conclusion. And this paragraph has a restatement of the thesis. So up here it says homeschooling has many perks. Down here it says homeschooling has many perks, although we're going to also talk about how to write a good restatement, and we don't want to do a word for word, which is pretty much what that is. So we'll fix that when we get to the conclusion. But it's actually nice to have it here so you can see that it's a restatement. And that's, again, why this funnel method gets its name, because we start with the reduced statement, and then we go out and we kind of generalize at the end, or we just make our big point, and then we end with maybe some application to other areas, some comparisons, but it ends a little more generally than we were discussing in the paragraph. Okay, so let's zoom in. I hope your paragraph that you did for homework resembled this, at least in general, in form. So let's now talk about the introduction. let's zoom in on this introduction. So, an introduction will still have a topic sentence. And I like to tell my students that the topic of your sentence, the subject of your topic sentence, should be the subject of the paragraph, just like the subject of the thesis should be the subject of your paper or your essay. So, because there's a temptation or a misunderstanding sometimes to start so broadly that you're not really even on topic. For instance, if someone were talking about homeschooling, they might start their paragraph with America. In America, we have free choices. We have the choice to choose, and start very, very generally. But I still think you should start with maybe not homeschooling, but at least education. A still in that same category of topic, but maybe a little bit broader. So that is the thing to really watch for, is do not go too broad. So this topic sentence is actually pretty good. It starts off by talking about education options. Now, if you've followed along in my videos, you probably know what I'm going to point out as a change here. But one of the things we've talked about earlier this year is trying to avoid there are sentences. So let's see if we can fix this there are sentence, because there is a really poor subject and are is a really poor verb. Is it wrong? No. Is it weak? Yes. Weak style. So oftentimes the easiest thing to do is to delete it and find the subject and the verb already in the sentence or create something similar. In America, in 2025, there are many different education options for school-age children. I'm going to delete let's not use that. Let's use a pen. I'm going to delete it. And we're going to say many different education options for school-age children. And I'm going to just insert the verb exist. You want to avoid the temptation to put a passive voice verb in here. Some people would say many different education options for school-age children are available. Let's avoid, remember, we're following our rules. We're avoiding passive voice. We're avoiding there are sentence constructions. We are trying to write good sentences, especially when it's a very important sentence like the topic sentence of your essay. So that is our topic sentence. Then let's read the rest of the introductory paragraph. We're going to show how we are going to hone in on our main thesis. So we talk about a variety of education options in our topic sentence, and then we give an example, just like we have learned to do with our body paragraphs. For example, families can choose between private, charter, public, specialized, public, and homeschool styles of education. Well, I'm sure you saw the same error I did. So let's take out public because we repeated it twice. And homeschool styles of education. Public schooling has been the most popular option for about a century, but ever since the COVID pandemic in 2020, homeschooling has been on the rise. And we would make that a lowercase h. Currently, it is quickly becoming one of the most popular options, and for good reason. Homeschooling has many perks. So we narrowed all the way down to our thesis. One of the tricks of writing a good introduction is to make it feel natural. Again, not too general. I have read student papers that their general start is so broad. It's a little bit kind of funny. So try to keep it within the same category, the same general area. Don't start with talking about America and then start narrowing down to, different vocations. And then from there, talk about teachers and people who don't send their kids to school. And then you talk about, so that's too broad. All right, so you get my point. All right, we will, for your homework, I want you to write 2 example introduction sentences for 2 essays that you haven't written yet, okay? So you don't have to write the whole essay. We are just going to write 2 example introductions. I'm going to give you your thesis, and you are going to write the introductory sentence paragraph, okay? So for your homework, you're going to write 2 example introductory paragraphs for 2 unwritten essays using the pre-selected thesis options below. What I mean by that is you're not going to have to write a whole essay. I don't want you to write more than 1 paragraph for each of these theses. Thesi, just kidding. So pick 2 out of this list. You're also allowed to make up your own. If you think you have something else you'd like to write about, that's fine, but you have to pick at least 2. And remember, these sentences here, whatever you write about, they are positioned in the very dead end of the paragraph. Okay, so just remember that as you write. Parents, this is going to be a 20-point assignment, 10 points per paragraph. You're looking for a strong topic sentence, avoiding there is construction. You're looking for at least 3 to 5 sentences, and you're looking for the thesis to end the paragraph. And of course, anything else you want to mark in there, like capitalization, punctuation. So this is, I'm going to weight this at 10 points. So 2 points per sentence. And then you have 6 points for having 3 to 5 sentences in there, okay? And then you have, of course, this is all times 2 because you have 2 of this. All right, well, I'll see you next week.